That first reading from St. Paul talks about the building of the kingdom of God and that the apostles laid the foundation stones. And Jesus is the capstone, the stone that goes on the top that holds everything together. When I was in seminary one summer, I had the opportunity to work for a very skilled stonemason named Fred, who happens to be here today. And he told me about working in the steel mills where they would have to line the furnaces and line the ladles, and there were arches that they would have to do, and they couldn't use mortar, so they would have to cut the stones just perfectly so that they all fit together without mortar in between of them, and they were wedged in, and that last stone had to be just perfect. Gives you a sense of how everything all fits together. And if you look at the Bible, it's like the greatest mystery book ever written across hundreds and hundreds of years by who knows how many authors. And there's all these little clues and things. You hear the story of St. Simon and Jude, who were the apostles that we celebrate today. St. Simon was called the Zealot because he was so passionate about his Jewish faith. And he turned that passion into passion for the Christian faith. And because of it, he was martyred. And St. Jude, who is the patron saint of lost causes. I don't know why, but my mom got me a St. Jude medal when I was in high school. I think I must have been quite a handful. But St. Jude was considered the patron saint of lost causes because his full name was Judas. Jude is kind of a nickname. So there were two Judases, and everyone associated him with the other Judas who betrayed Jesus, so they wouldn't pray to him. So it was only out of desperation, I guess, when you prayed to St. Jude, because he had an email inbox that was much smaller than everyone else. A lot of miracles were worked in his name. But the amazing thing about St. Jude is, although history doesn't tell you everything, a lot of Christian scholars believe that St. Jude was a first cousin of Jesus, that his father was Cleopas, who was one of the two men that was walking on the road to Emmaus when they met Jesus, who would have been his nephew. And he didn't recognize him until he saw them in the breaking of the bread. And that the mother of Judas may have been the Mary who was at the foot of the cross next to the Blessed Mother Mary. And think about how it all fits in. Think about how we all fit in. From before each of us was born, God had a plan for us. He knew what we would do with our lives. He knew every red light or every green light we hit. And he hopes and prays that we follow his plan. And everything we do that builds the kingdom gives him great glory and great gladness. We had a career center that I worked in for the diocese. Before I became a priest, we would write resumes for people and help them find jobs. And one time a woman came in and said, how much is this service? And I said, it's free. She said, well, who pays for it? And I said, the Catholic diocese. She said, well, but I'm not Catholic. And I said, but we are. We don't do it because you're Catholic. We do it because we're Catholic. And that's our way of bringing Christ into the world. Every comment you make, every time you bite your lip instead of saying something mean to someone or hurtful to someone, every time you let your anger dissipate instead of acting on it, every time you give someone a compliment, every little act of charity you do is building that kingdom of God one little stone at a time. One day God will reward us and show us the work that we've done, but we'll never know all of the lives we've touched, for good or for bad, this side of heaven. So we just work as hard as we can, laboring to build that wall, to build that kingdom here on earth, knowing that it'll never be perfect until Christ comes and takes our work and fashions it once again into the perfect kingdom of God.